Hello and welcome to this crafting video with myself, Antony. In this video I'm going to be showing you a paint wash technique on this ceramic skull that I got from Hobbycraft. I'm going to be using a couple of colours of acrylic paint to achieve the look of age, and maybe in the process it could look a little bit spooky. If you like the contents of this video, please click on the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you're new, and why not click on the notifications button as well. This will allow you to be notified of all brand new content that I upload to my YouTube channel. Right, without further ado, let's make this ceramic skull look a little bit creepy. So what I'm going to be doing first is just grabbing some acrylic paints, and we're just going to mix two of them. We're going to mix a brown and also a black. This will give us a sort of like dark brown colour, and that's what we want to go for. Now it's up to you. You can be using a palette, or you can go directly onto your glass mat. I think I'm going to use the palette in this instance, so we're just going to mix up some brown to start with, okay, and also a little bit of black. So let's just pop those into them. We want it fairly dark, okay, and then I'm just going to mix it up using a brush. Okay, so like I say, we want it fairly dark, possibly a little bit darker than that. Okay, yep, I think we're just going to go a little bit darker. So again, just add in some more of your black acrylic paint to that, and that will probably do it. So it's always best to add a little bit of a darker colour to start with, and add it if you don't like it. It's easier to add the paint than it is to take it away. Okay, that's a sort of like the colour that we actually want. As I said, this is a wash technique, so we're just going to add some water into the mix. I've just got a spray bottle here that's just got some water, so just spray that in. What you are going to need to hand is a baby wipe. Okay, this one is a little bit damp still, which is fine. And then all you need to do is just grab your paintbrush and start painting all over the skull. So when you've mixed the paint sufficiently, it is just a case of literally just going over the entire surface of your skull. You need to be fairly quick. You don't need to be precise. That's the really important part to this particular process. So just get the paint on as quickly as you possibly can. So I'm just using sort of like an oldish brush here, okay, and like I say, speed is of the essence without a doubt. So just quickly just pop that over the entire lot, okay, like so. Okay, so we've quickly painted that skull. What we're going to do next is we're then just going to use our baby wipe, and we are just going to then start removing it. And yeah, I'm going pretty hard here, okay, just to get that paint off straight away. Okay, so don't let this one dry. So if the phone rings, just let it ring. Okay, you want to just be getting that paint off using a damp baby wipe as I'm using here. So just keep on going. Okay, and you'll see what's actually happening. The dark or the recesses are retaining that paint, whilst the lighter or the raised surfaces, you're sort of like removing the majority of it. So just keep on going around there until you get the majority of the colour off. But already you can see we've aged that pretty well. Okay, so just keep on going, and I am rubbing fairly hard here. This particular ceramic skull has been coated before, which to me looks like a sort of a gesso type paint. So if you're using something that's ceramic and it possibly hasn't been gessoed, then I would suggest that you actually do that just to start with. So just take all that off. If you need another baby wipe, then by all means go for that as well. Like I say, you really only want the colouring in the recesses there to make it look pretty spooky. Okay, so if you've got like any areas that you're not happy with, then just quite simply just paint back over them. So as you can see, there's a slight sort of like crack in the skull here, so we want the colour to like sit in there. I'm just going to use my dirtier cloth to start with and to wipe it back. Okay, And I'm just going to go on with the slightly cleaner one. Okay, so we're going to go all the way around there. Okay, and then when we're happy with that, okay, and I think that's looking pretty good already. Okay, we're just going to dry that off using a heat tool. So just dry that off. I'm now just going to use some of that colouring, okay, the mix of the black and the brown acrylic paint, just to really sort of like go into the sockets of the eyes and into the nose, and let's just go over those teeth a little bit again. Okay, and just a little bit on there again. Okay, just into, like I say, those deep recesses, so you don't have to go over the whole lot this time. So you're just like looking for the areas that are quite got those deep recesses, so that's really going to accentuate all of that shape. Okay, and again, just using a cloth, just wipe that back. Okay, so it's just continually aging, or hopefully aging, the ceramic cast. Okay, so you can see I am using a fair bit of force here just to get some of that paint off. Where I know that I sort of like want it in those recesses, then I possibly go slightly lighter just so it retains some of that paint in there. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the whole skull again. Okay, and that's just really so we don't sort of like see any strokes of the cloth actually on there. Okay, and again, every single step as you go, what you want to then do is just dry it using a heat tool once again. So that's what I'm going to do now. So the aging process is now taking part. I'm just going to go over a third time. Like I said, it's just in the areas that we really want to accentuate. So it's the eye sockets and those real deep recesses, especially those teeth. Okay, so make sure you brush when you're using the brush, just stroke that in all directions just to really get into all of those little recesses there. And as before, okay, before the paint dries too much, then just use a baby wipe again just to go over there. So like I said, that's really now accentuating all of those recesses, bring out all of that detail in that ceramic skull. Okay, so just keep on just brushing and wiping over, okay, just to get all of that paint off before it totally dries. And as I mentioned before, you know, it's really important to keep on drying your piece after every single wash. Okay, so you can see now that's really just bringing out all of that detail. If there's sort of like a hard line that we've sort of got there, then again just go over pretty quickly and just sort of like soften it off. Okay, and again just on that side. Okay, again I'm just going to dry that off, and then we're going to go for a colour of the brown. So I'm just going to darken that brown a little bit more just by applying some more of the black acrylic paint. Okay, and like we did before, just use your paintbrush just to mix that in, so it's quite a bit darker than the previous colour, and that will then help just age this skull a little bit more. Okay, if you feel you can go any darker, then by all means do that. So again, we're just going to go into the eye sockets. Okay, we've got that crack in the skull there that we want accentuating even more, and again just round all of those deep recesses and the teeth. So with the wash technique, it's all about layering things up, but just making sure that you dry each individual step as you go along. Okay, so now you can see it's quite a bit darker, and again, just using the baby wipe again, we're just going to go over that. Okay, and we're sort of like going to blend it in to the rest of the skull a little bit, just so there's not that hard line that can possibly appear when you're sort of like blending two colours together. So you can see I'm going from the dark into what is the lighter colouring of the skull, just so we don't get that real hard line. So just keep on going in there. I'm just going to change the baby wipe again. Okay, so there we go, and it is getting there now. Okay, right, so let's have a look. You can see you just need to remove a little bit from there, but now those recesses are really coming to life, if that's the right word to be using on a skull. So you can see what I'm doing again. I'm just going from where those dark recesses are, just so we're not getting that real hard line in the paintwork. Okay, and you can see we've got another crack in the skull there. So again, I'm just going to go in with a darker colour. Okay, just really push that paint in, and then just using the baby wipe, okay, we're just going to go and just wipe that away. Okay, right, so I'm going to dry this one again, just make sure there's no real lines in the paintwork, and just using the heat tool, we're just going to dry that off once more. So the outside is now dry. Before we go any further on the aging process on the outside, I'm just actually going to paint the inside of the skull. Okay, we're just going to go for a dark sort of like black on there. Okay, so I'm just going to go into there. So that's basically, when you see through the eye sockets, all you're going to see is the black on the inside. Okay, so just paint that the best you possibly can. So we just dried a little bit of the inside there, or tried to dry, and then what we're just going to do is just going to use some of that black paint. I'm just going to water it down just a little bit. Okay, and just mix that in. Okay, and again, this is now black paint. Okay, so again, just to accentuate the cracks and the crevices that are in there. So it's all about building up the layers, as I said before. Let's just really push the paint right in there. Okay, especially on those cracks in the skull. And then just using, again, the baby wipes. Again, we are brushing from the dark colour into the lighter colour. Okay, and then just going over there. Okay, so again, just make sure you just wipe that all over, so you're not going to get any lines showing where the dark colour joins the light. Okay, and we're sort of like getting there now. You can pay extra attention to certain areas, and what you will need to keep on doing also is just to make sure that your fingers actually aren't gunked up too much of paint, otherwise you'll transfer that actually onto the skull. Again, I'm just going to go around on the back part there where the other crack was, really push the paint in, and once again just wipe that over. So just taking the clean wipe, you see it's not that clean for that long. We're now just going to wipe over the entire skull. Okay, so it's just going to help blend all of the dark colours into the lighter parts, because I think that's just really important. There's nothing worse than having just like a real hard line between a light and a dark shade on the skull. Okay, you can see it's still picking up a fair bit of the paint, but just leaving enough so you've got all of that beautiful definition actually on there. So again, just keep on just wiping around. Okay, and you think he's wiping everything off, but I'm not. Like I say, it's all about just layering up the paint so it works. So you can see in this crevice here, it's really, really nice and dark. Okay, let's just go back over that part there. That is that crack. I'm just going to use a dirty wipe just to take that away. Okay, try not to wipe too much over that. There we go. Okay, and then once again, as I did before, just use the heat tool. Okay, so I've fully dried everything then. You can see all of that amazing detail has really now come out. So we've basically gone for all of the recesses, but now we want to like just highlight some of the raised parts just to again accentuate them. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mix up a sort of dark brown, okay, to start with, but then we're just going to add a little bit of white into the mix as well, just to then lighten it. So it's a little bit of playing around with the colour just to make sure it's not too dark. We want it basically lighter than what is this colour on here. So there we go, that's that part there. Okay, now I'm just going to add some white paint into the mix. Okay, I'll just pop that into there, and again just give that a little bit of a mix up, and that's the sort of colour we want. Just keep on checking it to make sure it's light enough. Like I say, just want it lighter than the actual skull itself. So just looking at that, that's near enough the same colour, so we're just going to go for a little bit more white in there. Okay, and again just mix that in. That's the really important part to this, is just to make sure that you have mixed it really well. Okay, I can see that is definitely a lot lighter now, so that should really help accentuate the high points of all the detail on our ceramic skull. So I'm going to apply the paint that I've just mixed up, the really light colour, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to dab some onto this, and this is just a sponge, okay, sponge brush, but I don't want too much of that paint on, so I'm just going to dab some of it off, and then I'm just going to go round, okay, onto there. So we need to be fairly light, okay, with this. So it's just literally just picking up on the high points. Okay, so it's not going to be like one brush stroke is going to complete the overall look. It's a case of building it up just like we did last time. Okay, so just keep on going, and you can see it's just slightly building up now. Okay, but just keep on until you're happy. Okay, and don't forget the rest of the skull as well, and just keep on just going over that. Once you've got the first sort of like colour on there, okay, let's just really go on that one. I'm just going to dry that, and then we'll add another coat. So the reason I'm drying in between is because if I didn't and then I applied another coat over the top, it would sort of like basically wipe off the paint that's already there. So this way, just adding it layer by layer and drying between, you will build up the colour. Okay, so just keep on going there. You can see just the jaws. Okay, need sort of like highlighting, and I'm just going to go all the way around the bottom part there. Okay, and then just round there. Okay, so we're getting there. And again, just keep on drying. Okay, so I've dried that off. Now I'm just going to pop this paint aside for the moment. I may or may not use it. But what I've done now is just I've grabbed some white paint, as you can see just down here. And I'm just going to do a little bit of dry brushing. Now, if you don't know what dry brushing is, I have got a video on my channel all about that. But basically, it's about having hardly any paint actually on the brush. You can see I'm just wiping that off. Okay, and then we're just going to just brush that on to, like I say, those real high points, because we just want to accentuate, okay, the shape of the skull. Okay, if you think you've got too much paint on, then what you need to do is just get a piece of kitchen cloth, okay, and just wipe the paint off on there. So these are like the real high points. Okay, so I'm using hardly any pressure to actually apply that paint. Okay, and you can see again, it's not just a process where just one set of strokes is going to achieve the effect. You just need to keep on just going around. You can see there, it's just really brought that up. Okay, so we're just going to go again all the way around the jawline. Okay, and just really accentuate that. So that's what I'm going to do now. Just go around all of those areas that just need highlighting. Like I say, that are the high points on the skull. So you need to keep on turning the skull around and just look at it every so often. There we go. You can see that's really now taking shape and just really accentuating all of the shapes in that skull. And the trick is not to have hardly any paint actually on your brush. Going to load that with some white, but again not too much. Okay, and then we're just going to just brush over there, and that's just going to sort of like soften where we've done the dry brushing. Okay, so again just go over that a couple of times. Remember, one stroke is not going to do the trick. All about building up the layers of the colour. Okay, so just keep on going like that. It's like got a high point on the back there that just sort of like blends in to the back, and also on the other side as well. So just be sure not to overdo it by having too much of the white paint on the sponge. Okay, so this is literally just to blend in where we did the dry brushing. Okay, I'm not using that much pressure, so it's just literally just touching the high points. just want to really go into that part there. Let's just build it up with many strokes. Okay, and then just around there. You see this line starting to come quite nicely there, and that's just literally the dry brushing that is achieving that using the sponge. Okay, go for the teeth. Just keep on twisting it round. Just going to add a little bit more. Okay, and just on the forehead there. So again, just this side. So it's just catching the very top of that. There we go. It's going to really accentuate the eye sockets, the high points on that. And again, just brush it. Brush it on many times. There we go. Okay, you can see just by continually going over with our sponge there, we're just getting a little bit more shape into the skull just by using the dry brushing technique. Okay. So I think we're near enough done. I'm just going to dry that off and then we'll have another look. So I've just added a little bit more white to my brush, my foam brush that is, and I'm just going to just go around a little bit more. Okay, let's see there, just to get more of the shape of the details of that skull really coming through. You can see it's sort of like got an arch coming around here a little bit, which again just accentuates the actual shape if nothing else. Okay, so you can see there's another slight low point here, so it's now finding where that is. Okay, let's just go over to here, and it's all about just keep on turning, in this case the skull, just round to sort of every angle, just to see what's going to actually pick up when you do the dry brushing over the top. Okay, let's go on to the back. Okay, okay, I think we are finally done, and there we go. That's all of the dry brushing, but I always say I'm finished, then I just see some other little bits that I want to do. So just on the teeth, okay, and round the jaw bit, okay, just to pick up on that. So you can see there we've got like the indentations, and we've got that real dark coloration going on, and the real high points we've then got the white, and in between it's just blending almost seamlessly into one another. So you can just keep on doing this to your heart's content until you're happy with the blend, but I think I'm going to leave my skull at that for this moment. If you've liked the contents of this video, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and why not click on the notifications button as well. This will allow you to be notified of all brand new content that I upload to my YouTube channel. Well, I hope you enjoyed my transformation of this ceramic skull from Hobbycraft, and I hope you can join me again real soon. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.